Hello and welcome to the Ball Don't Lie podcast, episode number 9. And today we have a very special episode for you guys. We're going to be talking about everything that's been going on in the league, particularly yesterday, which was, I'm pretty sure, the first day where trades were possible this offseason. And we had about 5 major trades that happened yesterday. We also have a little game for you guys at the end, but let's get into the trades. I'm gonna go in chronological order as to when they happened. And I believe the first one was going to be it was a verbal agreement before the trade opened but itself, but it was the Lakers trading for Dennis Schroeder and giving up Danny Green and the 28th overall pick to the Thunder. For all of these trades, I'm just gonna ask you guys to give me your winners and losers. If both the teams won, you can say it's a win-win. And if both the teams lost somehow, you can say it's a lose-lose. Uh, but I think that for the Lakers, this is definitely a win for me. And I think for the Thunder, it depends on what they do with Danny Green. I think Danny Green in the 28th pick for a guy that was a six man of the year candidate. I don't really know if that's like a as good of a return as you can have, but the Thunder are still stocking up on picks. Like they got a lot of picks, and we're gonna talk about the next trade that they did later. But I think for the Lakers, they get another backup point guard, or maybe he can start as well. Dennis Schroeder is a very quality player. And for the Thunder, the 28th pick they can use to draft a player, but it all depends on I think what they do with Danny Green because I think they'd be pretty blind not to trade him after the performance he had last season. But that's besides the point. What do you guys think?
So I feel like this is a big win for the Lakers because I feel like the Thunder didn't realize what they could get. They probably did, but I feel like they didn't realize what they could get because I don't think other teams were like looking to trade for him. And I guess the Lakers just offered them this and they accepted it because I feel like they could get a way better deal, as you mentioned, one of the best six man of the year candidates. And I think the Lakers won this trade big time, and Thunder they didn't lose it as much as the Lakers won it, but I still think that Thunder lost this trade.
I agree with both of you. I think that the Lakers obviously won the trade. I'm not sure if the Thunder lost. They didn't win, but you never know with that 28th pick they can draft the next big thing. And then we look back on the trade and we're like, yeah, that was a good trade from what that 28th pick became. But as of right now, the Lakers are the winners of this trade, and Dennis Schroeder fits a role that the Lakers needed to fill. And yeah, the Thunder didn't lose the trade except for getting Danny Green. But I think they could have gone more for a shooter. But yeah, I think Lakers are the winner of this trade.
I think, yeah, as John said, the Lakers won this trade. But I feel like the Thunder could have gotten more out of the Lakers for Dennis Schroeder. I feel like they could have gotten maybe another pick. I'm not sure. I feel like because Danny Green in the 28th pick, if you think about this year's draft class really isn't that deep. But I feel like they could have gotten more out of it. But, a first-round pick is still a first-round pick. And so, I mean, you can't really be mad. And as for the Lakers, they needed bench scoring. And especially since Rondo might be out the door, they really needed a bench scorer. And I think Dennis Schroeder fits that void perfectly. And so the Lakers are winners. But the Thunder might be winners too. You just don't know what they're going to do with Danny Green in that 20.
Well, it's pretty obvious. I mean, I agree with all of you, but I mean, it's pretty obvious that the Lakers won this trade. Dennis Schroeder is a perfectly type of player they need, considering, like you said, Rondo is probably going to be ending up walking in free agency. And I mean, to be honest, this is literally exactly the person that if I were a Lakers fan, I would want. You need this type of player, as Rondo's probably going to be leaving. And I think that the Thunder did not get back as what they could have gone back for Schroeder, as he is a valuable player. Obviously not too valuable, but definitely a great player. And Danny Green, they're already shopping him. It looks like it's rebuild time in OKC. So if they get more picks, it looks like he's going to be heading out. And again, it all depends. That 28th pick could literally turn into the next great, but it's unlikely, but I would say Lakers win this trade.
All right, now let's move on to the second trade that OKC was involved in, which was the Chris Paul deal. So for those who didn't know, the Suns acquired Chris Paul and Abdel Nader, and they gave up Kelly Oubre, Ricky Rubio, Ty Jerome, Jalen LeCue, and a 2022 first-round pick. Now, a lot of people there was very mixed opinions about this trade on social media. A lot of people were saying that the Suns might have given up too much, um, or maybe like the Thunder um, should have gotten a couple more picks. But I think that it's a win-win for both teams. I think that if you talk about what the Suns gave up, Ricky Rubio doesn't really fit their timeline like whatsoever, and he's not like I know Chris Paul doesn't fit their timeline either, but Ricky Rubio is like 10 times lesser the player that Chris Paul is. So I think that's an upgrade for sure because they got an all-star, a guy that can help to lead their team to the next level. I think if you talk about Kelly Oubre, a lot of people are upset that he got dealt as well. A lot of Suns fans, but I think that um, if you guys don't remember, when they went 8-0, Kelly Oubre was not playing, so they had their best run of the season without him. So I don't know if that he's that big of a loss because they still had Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, and they didn't even give up their 10th pick. So it depends on what they even like do with that pick as well. They could probably draft another wing or a big. And Ty Jerome and Jalen LeCue haven't really done anything to prove that they should be still on the team. And the 2022 first round pick is pretty late. So I think as far as the Suns go, I think this is a win. The Thunder is a win too because you get 3 young pieces. Ricky Rubio could mentor guys like Shea. And they already got the mentoring from Chris Paul, but Ricky Rubio could further assist them as well. If they want to get rid of Ricky Rubio, they could. And they get an extra first round pick. So I think it's a win-win.
I completely agree with you. Every single thing you said. I think it's a win-win for both teams. As you mentioned, the Thunder, they get 3 young players in that first round pick, and the Suns, they get Chris Paul who can help them like take them to that next level that they need.
So I do agree with both of you. I think it is a win-win in the situation. The Suns, I think, we're going to make the playoffs even if they didn't get Chris Paul. I think the West, it's just getting like more weak, and it's very weak at the bottom of the West. Usually the West is top heavy. So that's why I think this was a win-win. I think Chris Paul definitely puts them in the playoff as a playoff team. I think they also the Thunder also win this because Kelly Oubre is a very good player, and so is Ricky Rubio. The Jalen LeCue and Ty Jerome, they're whatever. But that first round pick is a Suns pick, I believe. And if the Suns, Chris Paul's going to be 37 years old, I think, at that time in 2022. So he's definitely not going to be playing at this level. And if everything goes wrong in Phoenix, then that pick is going to turn out to be valuable if there's no restrictions on it. So I think the Thunder win this. They were going to have to deal Chris Paul anyways, and I think this was a very good spot to deal him.
This is a win-win trade for both teams, but I feel like the Thunder could have gotten more out of this trade too. Like they should have gotten the Danny Green trade, but nevertheless, the Suns get that point guard they need besides Devin Booker, and the Thunder get Kelly Oubre and a solid point guard in Rubio. And I know Darian said Ty Jerome and Jalen LeCue are whatever, but they're not whatever. They're young pieces. They're still in their like early 20s, and that first round pick could be valuable too. And I also want to disagree with the bottom of the West. The West is loaded. I don't think it's getting weaker. I think it's getting stronger. But this is a win-win for both sides. But I feel like the Thunder could have gotten more out of this. But nevertheless, the Suns get better and the Thunder get more first-round picks. So we'll see what they do with that.
I mean, yeah, it's a win-win for both teams, but mainly I would say the Suns. I mean, honestly, this is tough to determine. I would say both teams, but I mean, the Suns get Chris Paul, which will likely push them into the playoffs next season unless things go wrong. But I would kind of disagree with that. I mean, okay, Drew Holiday got traded, something like that. But I mean, Chris Paul's heading to the Suns now. They're likely to be competing, and of course, I can't think of anybody now. Robert Covington is going to the Blazers, but again, I think that it's a win-win for both teams. Ricky Rubio, as we all saw, was not happy as he tweeted. He was mad at the Suns organization, but I mean, we're gonna have to see. It was a pretty fair trade, I would say, but looks like the Thunder could be planning out something here.
All right. So I saw that Tejas had a problem with me saying the bottom of the West is weak. So I'm just going to go through this now. I'm just going to go through the West standings. So the Lakers, the Clippers, the Nuggets are going to be there. If Houston trades Harden to the East and Westbrook is getting traded somewhere too, Houston won't be there, so they're gone. OKC's not going to be there because they got rid of CP3, so they're gone too. Utah's going to be there. Dallas is going to be there. That leaves 3 spots, the 6, the 7, and the 8. And then this 8 seed in the West had 35 wins. The Memphis had 34, and Phoenix had 34. So that's why I said the Phoenix Suns would make the playoffs even if they didn't get CP3, because that's 6 to 8 spot. They would have to compete with Houston without James Harden and Westbrook, John Morant on Memphis, and I think they're going to be there too. OKC has no way of making it without Chris Paul on their team. And then there's San Antonio, who's getting older, and DeMar might be on the move. So that's why I said that Phoenix would make it regardless, because the bottom of the West is weaker next year and the East is getting stronger.
I just want to make a quick point. I actually think you're a little bit wrong on this. By the way, DeMar did accept this player option. That is a note to that later. But okay, so here are the teams I think that have a legit shot. I don't know why you say the West is weak. So the 8 teams that made it this year, exclude the Thunder and the Rockets. Those are the 2 teams that I think could be outside. But if the Rockets do trade Harden, they're going to get a haul from from whatever team. They're going to get a haul. So never underestimate that. But the Thunder, I don't think they'll make it. So there's the Warriors that are going to make it. The Suns are going to make it. Don't forget the Pelicans. Don't forget the Grizzlies. The Timberwolves are getting, they have Russell, Cat, and they're getting they're probably going to draft Edwards too. The West is a little more, and the Blazers. Don't forget the Blazers too. Okay, you can never underestimate Lillard and McCollum, especially them getting someone else who we'll mention later on in this video. But I think there's a lot of teams that can compete. I don't know why you would say the West is weak.
So I mean, I think it's too soon to predict how strong a team will be. Like, we're just one day into trade, so we will have an episode to see like where teams will be, like standings prediction. But just moving on to the next trade, we're gonna talk about the Portland Trailblazers trading for Robert Covington, and in return giving the Rockets Trevor Ariza, the 16th pick, and the 2021 first round pick. If you guys don't know, the 16th pick, the Trailblazers will have to pick the Rockets, since there's a rule saying that you can't trade 2 consecutive first round picks. So they're gonna draft the 16th pick for the Rockets and then trade the rights for that player to the Rockets. The Rockets won't be drafting the player; the Trailblazers will. But basically, I think that this is a big win for both teams. I think the Rockets, I strongly believe that they should hit the reset button, and getting 2 first round picks is a good start. Trevor Ariza was like, that's the only iffy part. Like, he was like bad mouthing the Rockets. Like, as soon as like the drama came out about Westbrook and Harden, he was talking about how he was unhappy there, and now they just traded him right back. So that was kind of funny to me. And as far as the Blazers are concerned, I think this is a win for them because you get a 3-and-D player who's more productive than Ariza. I mean, I don't think the 16th pick is really going to mean anything to them, and neither will that 2021 pick, because it's going to be mid to late lottery or mid to late first round, since they still have Dame and CJ. So I think this is a win for both teams.
I think this is a win for both teams, but I feel like Portland sort of want a little bit more. I mean, they did give up 2 picks, but I still feel like Trevor Ariza, he's getting really old. He's 35, and they brought in a guy who's shown to be one of like the most gritty players in this league, and Robert Covington, that he played with the Rockets this season. He was playing the 4 and sometimes the 5 as 6'7", I think he is. and he can shoot. He's a really good defender. I feel like he's a perfect fit on their team. And so I think them getting Trevor Ariza like out of their roster. He's 35 years old, I'm pretty sure, and giving away 2 picks, I feel like is a win. And also the Rockets receiving 2 first-round picks is a win. So I think it's a win-win.
I think it's kind of funny how Trevor Ariza got traded back to the team he was bad-mouthing, like Suha said. I think the Trailblazers made a really good move here, but I don't know if it was worth the 2 picks, because if the Trailblazers end up like trying to start fresh, because Dame, if they don't win, I think Dame's gonna, I don't know how long, I think he has a long deal, but like, you never know, the superstars in the NBA are unpredictable. They can be requesting trades and stuff, so these picks could be valuable. The 16th pick is a pretty good spot for a team to draft. So I think I think both teams win this. I think Trailblazers get a really, really good player in Robert Covington, as you guys said, 3-and-D. So, and the Rockets also get that. We can tell the Rockets are rebuilding now. Like, they're starting fresh. They're gonna get rid of their players. That's why they're trying to get picks. I think Harden's definitely gonna get traded now when they trade away their 3rd best player. But yeah, I think both teams won this trade.
For the Blazers, I think this is a W. Because they get, obviously y'all mentioned 3-and-D, but most importantly, if they ever play the Lakers, they have a decent enough defender to try and guard LeBron. But he's not all of that. Just keep that in mind. But he is a really good defender. He's 3-and-D. He's decent enough. Yeah. And they gave up this year's first round pick, and I think next year's first round pick is like protected somewhere. I don't know where it is. But the Rock, and y'all mentioned Trevor Ariza's bad mouthing. Surprisingly, kind of ironic he got traded back to Houston. So this is a win-win for both teams. Houston gets picks, and the Blazers get the small forward they've been looking for.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that Robert Covington is going to be a perfect fit in Portland. Trevor Ariza is heading back to Houston, and obviously he won't be as big as a factor as Robert Covington. But again, he could be if Harden and Westbrook are both leaving, or even if just one of them leaves. But they also gave up for Covington that 16th pick in this year's draft, I guess, which is tomorrow actually, and the 2021 first round pick. And I mean the Rockets, the Trailblazers I have no clue how they're gonna do, because they've been good and bad randomly throughout these past couple of years. I mean, they've been good, and then this past year they kind of decreased a bit. So that 2021 first round pick could go either way. That 16th pick could be a huge factor. We see great all-star players nowadays going mid-draft or so. Yeah, I mean, that 16th pick could get any draft pick could get you anyone that could either turn to a Hall of Famer or bust. But I think that both Covington, I think it's kind of a win-win deal for both sides of the deal.
All right, yeah. So moving on to the next trades, which are going to be dealing with the Milwaukee Bucks. We have the Bucks getting Drew Holiday, which is the big one, and giving back Bledsoe, George Hill, 3 future first-round picks, and 2 pick swaps. So I've seen also like with the Chris Paul trade, a lot of people were debating on whether this is a win or whether the Bucks gave up too much. I think that this trade will solely depend, or whether this is a win or a loss for both teams will solely depend on if Giannis resigns. Because I actually, like, for the Pelicans, I think this is a win, but like for the Bucks, like it'll depend on whether Giannis resigns. Because if Giannis doesn't resign, then this trade is an L for you, because you're giving up 3 future first round picks and you're swapping 2 picks. And a lot of people might say that this is way too much for Drew Holiday. I don't know if I would throw 3 first round picks at Drew Holiday. I'd probably keep it at 1 or 2. But if this pays off, like the Bucks took a big risk with this. If this pays off, they look like geniuses. But I think it all depends on whether Giannis resigns.
I feel like just looking at this trade, Pelicans won this like by far, and I agree with you with the Giannis re-signing thing. But this trade, Pelicans receive two of the Bucks' best role players, their starting point guard and their backup point guard. They receive 3 future first round picks and 2 pick swaps, 5 picks and 2 really good veterans for Drew Holiday, who is also a really good veteran, obviously better than those two. But what I think about the Bucks is that this trade is Drew Holiday enough for them to win this championship, and obviously the other trade they made. So what I'm thinking is, if it is enough, Giannis resigns, and the trade's worth it. But if it's not enough, I don't think this trade is worth it at all, because I don't know if just Drew Holiday for all that is worth it.
All right, so I agree with both of you. I think I'm in the middle of both of you in like how strong your opinion is. I don't think that the Pelicans won this by a lot, but I do think they won this. I don't think Drew Holiday, especially with the trade they made for him and the next trade they make that we'll get into, I don't think the Bucks got a lot better. I don't think they're going to be the favorite out of the East right now, like for like a guaranteed favorite out of the East, because this trade didn't really get them that much better. But for the Pelicans, they had to get rid of Drew Holiday. He doesn't fit their timeline. He's old. He's getting older, I mean, and Pelicans want to have a young team, and they got a lot of good picks. And Bledsoe, he's getting older. He can provide good starting point guard or bench point guard. I don't know what they want to do with him and Lonzo. And George Hill as well. They're both old guys, but the picks in themselves, I definitely would not give this all up for Drew Holiday. This looks like a package they gave that the Lakers gave for AD, and Drew Holiday is not on AD's level. So I don't know if I know that Bucks did not win this. I think if Giannis re-signs, then sure, but then you have no depth, especially with the next trade that we're going to talk about. They have 0 depth now. So I don't know what happened to the Bucks. This could be a massive failure or like kind of a success. So I think that the Pelicans won this, but I don't think it was by that much, but I think it was by a significant amount.
I agree with you a little bit, Darian, on the fact that the Pelicans won this, but not by that much. If you have to think about it the way the Bucks front office thought about this trade. They're trying to keep Giannis in Milwaukee. They're trying to keep him happy. They're going to do whatever it takes. And I think we mentioned it when we did our Eastern Conference teams. What did we say? They have to throw whatever, to get Chris Paul. Okay, then you get Chris Paul. They're going to get the next best thing to keep Giannis happy. They had to do whatever it takes to throw, to get Drew Holiday. And I will mention this as well. They probably heard, because I didn't know this, but the Celtics apparently offered the Pelicans 3 first-round picks and Gordon Hayward, and the Pelicans declined. I'm pretty sure the Bucks front office heard that, and they decided to throw 3 of their first-round picks and Eric Bledsoe and George Hill and 2 pick swaps, and that's probably why the Pelicans said, "Okay, we'll take that deal." The Pelicans obviously they get picks. They're set for the future, but for the Bucks, the way you got to think about it for them is they're basically trading for Giannis and Drew Holiday, because that way they get to keep both of them. You have to think about it in that aspect, and that's the way they were thinking. Thinking that maybe this will keep Giannis happy enough to make him sign, but I doubt he. It just depends on how this season goes, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both of you guys. I mean, I'm last, but most people said what I was gonna say about both teams. I mean, they were just trying to keep Giannis in Milwaukee. They have to know all the rumors that are going around, or at least in the middle of last season. So Drew Holiday is probably going to keep Giannis occupied in Milwaukee, also with Bogdanovich being a nice grab. But I do think that the Pelicans won the trade. They do get back they do get back. I'm pretty sure in this trade they got back Eric Bledsoe, George. What is this the trade that they got back? Eric Bledsoe, George Hill, and 3 first-round picks. So honestly, I say that I take it as a win. Eric Bledsoe is going to be a great player, although I don't know what the situation is going to be with Lonzo. And Eric Bledsoe, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if Lonzo can play shooting guard. He might be able to with his size, but I don't really think. But either those 3 first-round picks are probably way too much to include in there. But I mean, yeah, I would say that the Bucks did get a piece of this trade, but majority of the win goes to majority of the trade goes to the Pelicans.
All right, and now moving on to the second trade with the Bucks. They traded for Bogdan Bogdanovic and Justin James. I'm not even sure who that is. I think he's a G League guy. Um, for Dante DiVincenzo, DJ Wilson, and Ersan Ilyasova. Now, before I talk about this is all going to relate to whether I think this is a win or a loss. I think I really hope that the Milwaukee Bucks don't end up in the same situation that the 76ers were in, because last year when the 76ers traded for Al Horford, we looked at their starting lineup and it was like, wow, Ben Simmons, Josh Richardson, Tobias Harris, Al Horford, Joel Embiid, on paper, they could be the best team in the East. A lot of people were talking about that like that. But we saw that with the 76ers. And this is these are the same issues with the Bucks right now. If this goes this way, their bench, their shooting, and their coaching was an issue. If you look at the Bucks, Kyle Korver might retire. Wesley Matthews declined his player option, and Marvin Williams retired already. So that's 3 key shooters that are probably not going to be there next year. The coach is a big question mark to me, especially in the playoffs, and they lose all their depth like this. So I hope that they don't turn into what the 76ers were last year. But I think when you're talking about the Kings' perspective, Bogdanovic, there was rumors that he didn't want to be there anyway. I think DiVincenzo is a really good piece to get back. He's young. DJ Wilson is also a young center. Ersan is just another guy that can space the floor. So for the Kings, I think this is a win. And for the Bucks, again, we'll see. We'll see at the end of the season. I'm sitting on the fence with the Bucks because I'm not really sure if this is a win or a loss yet.
I agree with you. This is a very questionable trade for the Bucks because, as you said, Dante DiVincenzo is a really great young guy. He's a good defender, very good defender, and he's shown that he has some potential for great things. And I feel like if you're just trading, like I said, Dante DiVincenzo, some other stuff, not a key role player like Ilyasova, and another young guy like DJ Wilson for Bogdan Bogdanovic, who isn't that much of an upgrade. He is an upgrade, obviously, but not a huge upgrade, and will to give your depth for. So it is a pretty questionable trade. I need to see what they're gonna do first, with their bench, and then I'll assess if it's a win for them. But the Kings do win that trade.
As of right now, I think Bucks just flat out lost this trade. I don't know why they would give up Dante DiVincenzo because I think next season he has Bogdanovic potential anyways. I think he can produce the same that Bogdanovic can next season. So I don't know why they would do this, especially giving up Ilyasova, who is a guy that gets some decent minutes on the Bucks too. DJ Wilson's also, I think he's a pretty young guy too. I don't know why they would do this for Bogdanovic. I think they're just trying to get these names for Giannis to look at. They're like, oh, it's Bogdanovic, that's a bigger name than DiVincenzo, and try to help him decide to stay. I don't know if this definitely gives up the depth with the Jrue Holiday trade. I think both these trades just don't go together at all. They just lost their entire bench. So, like Suha said, I hope it doesn't turn into what happened in Philly with their starting lineup. But that's just what I think. I think the Kings win this trade big.
I also think actually, I'll get a little bit more perspective. I don't want to be like y'all, but I think the Bucks kind of won this trade a little bit because they get a really good they needed shooting, and as much as they probably should have kept DiVincenzo. The Kings definitely win this trade, but I think the Bucks also won a little bit because they get another player for their starting lineup that has shooting capabilities. Unlike Bledsoe couldn't shoot at all, and their depth really didn't pay off that much in the playoffs. So they were like, you know what? We don't really need the depth. we can just get we could we could keep all this, we could get a shooting guard, we can we can get everybody else, and that way we don't have to worry about our bench depth. So I think that's what they were trying to do, because it really didn't matter. They had to play all their guys big minutes in the playoffs. So that's what they were probably trying to do. They're going to get role players, to fill out the roster. So I think that this is a minor W for the Bucks. But if this doesn't pan out, then it's an L for them.
Well, okay. Listen, hear me out. Hear me out. The Bucks are trying to get Giannis happy, correct? That's correct. The Bucks trade for Bogdanovich. It's not even the better Bogdanovich kid or basketball player. The better one is obviously Bojan Bogdanovich, and he's on the Jazz. But I mean, that doesn't matter too much. But okay, they got Bogdan Bogdanovich. He might be able to help you a bit. But you trade away Dante DiVincenzo, a key player on your bench, DJ Wilson, okay, and Hernan Ilyasova. I'm pretty sure he was the backup or maybe third string. He was a great shooting center behind Brook Lopez. So, I mean, okay. Like, I think that I would end up saying that the Kings won this, but honestly, I think that in the end, I would say that the Kings win this trade.
All right, and I think that's the last of all the major trades. I mean, Bruce Brown got traded to the Nets for Musa and a second round pick, but I don't really think that really matters in the grand scheme of things. No disrespect to them. But there probably will be more trades that are happening soon enough. And especially since like the draft is tomorrow as well. So we're gonna be giving our draft reactions soon enough, and more trades are gonna be happening. Now, like rapid fire, I'm gonna do something really quickly. Just gonna list out everyone who declined or accepted a player option. And if you guys want to talk about that, we can talk about it. Otherwise, you can just move on to the next player. So first off, we have Anthony Davis declined his $29 million player option. He's gonna re-sign with the Lakers. Does anyone have anything to say about that?
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious, but yeah, no, I don't really actually have anything to say.
Yeah. Otto Porter accepted his $28 million player option. I'm just gonna skip past everyone who accepted it. I'm just gonna talk about the people who declined it. Andre Drummond also accepted his player option. Batum accepted a whopping $27 million player option. I don't know who in the right mind gave that to him. And then we have another very wild one. Tony Snell accepted a $12 million player option. Evan Fournier accepted a $17 million player option. Now here's one that was declined. Rodney Hood declined a $6 million player option. He is coming off an injury, so I'm not really sure this is the smart thing to do. But we will talk about him in depth later as to where we think he's going to go. But does anyone have anything to say about Rodney Hood declining the player option?
Rodney Hood's a really good 3-and-D. Well, I wouldn't say he has the defense, but he's a really good offensive wing. I think he wants to go. He wants the money. He wants the money, but the Achilles injury is really going to hurt him. But I think he'd go to a contender. I don't know specifically who. Maybe the Clippers or maybe the Lakers. Maybe some team out east. I don't know. He's going to look for that bag though, but I don't know if he'll really get it.
All right, and then we have Robin Lopez declining his $5 million player option, which is another very surprising one for me because he didn't really play at all. Like I don't remember seeing him in the playoffs like whatsoever. So for him to decline a $5 million option was pretty strange to me. Do you guys think that was a smart move? Like, you guys have any thoughts on that or no?
Yeah, I think he must really hate Milwaukee if he wants to leave. No one's giving him more than $5 million a year. He's gonna probably get the veterans minimum or like max $2 million because he's like a third string player, or maybe I think he was their backup 5, but he gets like 6 minutes a game. I don't know. He he was getting paid more millions than minutes he was playing. So I don't know if he really should have declined that because he's not going to get an offer like that anytime soon.
And his brother's on that team, so.
Yeah, that is true. Brooke is on that team, so I don't think it made sense. James Ennis also declined his $2 million option. Doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things. Mario Hezonja accepted a $2 million option, and then we get to the three like big ones as far as like stature of players. Apart from like Anthony Davis and apart from like everyone who accepted an offer in Anthony Davis, Jeremy Grant declined his $8 million option, which makes sense because I think he could get somewhere in the ballpark of 15 to 20. I think depending on like which team wants him, he can be a very serviceable piece on a contender. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. What do you guys think about him declining his player option? Just declining his player option.
Go ahead, David. Go ahead.
All right. How much was he making? I think it was $9 million that he declined. Was it? Do you know?
It was like 8 to 9, like somewhere in the middle.
Something like that, right? Yeah, I feel like he could definitely make more money. He showed what he could do in those plays, like that. If he needed, if the team he was playing on, which was the Nuggets, obviously, if they needed some scoring and they needed some defense, he was there. So he could definitely make some more money. And I feel like going into next season, actually, sorry, I'm not supposed to say more than that, but sorry.
Okay. I also forgot to mention that DeRozan accepted his $28 million option. Then we have Rondo declining his $2.5 million option as well. I think that, I mean, he obviously wants more money. He's won like a couple of championships. But I think now he wants the bag, so it's going to be interesting to see what team takes him. And then same with Wesley Matthews, who declined his $3 million option. If you guys want to talk about Rondo or Wesley Matthews, go for it. Both of them declined about $3 million.
Yeah,
I think
just go. Yeah.
I think the Rondo is, I think it's kind of weird. From his standpoint, yeah, he's won 2 championships, and yeah, he's looking for a bag. But if you remember correctly, he's more about winning championships, I think. So he'll probably go back to a contender, and I think that might be the Clippers. Maybe he'll get a bag from them because they need a backup. Well, I don't know if they need a backup point guard because they could have Lou play the backup point guard, but maybe they'd get him. We've heard rumors about the Hawks. The Hawks are looking to contend in the East, but I think he's going to stick with the contender, and maybe he'll get a bag from. There's also a real possibility he could go to the Celtics, but I doubt that happens.
All right, so I heard somewhere that I also, like Tay just said, the Celtics. I heard that he might want to finish his career in Boston. That would be interesting. I don't know if he would really want to play with. I get like the organization. I don't know if he would want to play with the players that are on Boston. But I think I've seen a lot of Clippers stuff that it would be like a legacy move if he can go to the Clippers and win a championship. But we all know there's no way the Clippers are going to win a championship, so it doesn't really make a difference. I don't think he should chase the bag. I think he's made enough money, and I think Atlanta won't even offer him that much more money than the Clippers would. Like the Clippers I saw the Clippers can offer him $9 million, and the Hawks will offer him $15 million over 2 years. So I don't know if he wants to go for $3 million more per year. So that's why I think Rondo is probably going to land on the Clippers. It's going to be like the rivalry is going to get even bigger between the Lakers and on Wesley Matthews, we know he's not going to go back to Milwaukee. He's not going to get like a bag from anyone. He's an old guy. He's definitely in his 30s, I think mid 30s. So I think he's 34. I think that Wesley Matthews will go to a contender that is in Milwaukee, and I think he's going to go out west. So I think the Lakers have a pretty good chance at landing him if he's not asking for too much money, because a shooter would be good beside LeBron if there's mutual interest there. I'm not too sure because I haven't seen reports of any other team going after Wesley Matthews, but that's my opinion on those 2 players.
Well, on those 2 players, Rondo and Wesley Matthews, I'm just going to put out quickly, Wesley Matthews is looking like the Lakers are interested. That's all I know, and I'm probably going to cry if he goes there. But with Rondo, I mean, he did, like you said, I think you said that he wanted to finish his career with the Celtics, but it would honestly be kind of crazy to me seeing him play for the Celtics and the Lakers and the Clippers, being the Lakers Clippers rivalry and also the Lakers Celtics rivalry. But I'm being told here, breaking news, that Wesley Matthews is also getting interested by the Heat and the Mavs. But it seems like I think most likely the Lakers. But either way, I think that Rondo could resign with the Lakers, but I doubt it. I think I'm not even sure what the deal with him is right now, but it looks like he's going to be walking, and I think he wants to go to the Clippers. I'm pretty sure he wants to, but the Hawks could throw him a deal. And here's the thing: he's nicknamed Playoff Rondo, but what's the point of having Playoff Rondo if you're not even going to get to the playoffs?
All right. So now we're going to be getting into a game called Where Are They Off To? So this is going to be a list of a bunch of like important free agents that I came up with. And we're going to see what the guys think about if they had to pick one team that they think would sign this player, which or trade for this player, which team would it be? We're going to start off with Fred VanVleet, who is a free agent this year. He already mentioned on JJ Redick's podcast that he wants the bag. I'll go first. I mean, I'm not really like sure like who's been interested in him, but if I had to pick one team who'd throw the bag at any player, whether it be Fred VanVleet or not, I'd probably pick the Knicks because they just have too much money to spend and haven't been really doing anything with it. So I think that if anyone has money, it's the Knicks. I'm pretty sure they have one of the highest cap spaces in the league. So that's why I got Fred VanVleet to the Knicks, bright lights, and he gets the money.
Bobby Webster, which is the Raptors GM, if you guys don't know, announced that Fred VanVleet is their top priority this offseason and that they want to bring him back. And I hope you guys realize everybody's saying how that like the Raptors don't have enough money to offer him, stuff like that, right? And they actually have bird rights on him, so they do have enough money to offer him over $20 million. So they could offer him the thing, and I think that they will bring him back because that's what's it called? That's what they're focused on right now.
Well, from what I'm being told from my sources, Fred VanVleet, I think there's only 3 teams that he will be heading to. There's only 3 options of teams. So obviously, he said that he wants to get a bag. He already won a ring. So I don't know. I think he did that solely to try to put pressure on the Raptors to give him more money. I don't think he actually fully meant it because do you really want to make like $7 million more and like be on a garbage team? Like, let's be honest. So the Knicks can throw him the bag, obviously, but like, why would he want to play in New York specifically? Then there's the Raptors, the team that he grew up in. He became the player he is. So I think it's Knicks, Raptors in this last team. I don't think there's been reports of this, but I think it makes sense. It's the Chicago Bulls. Fred VanVleet is a Chicago native, I believe. So it would make sense for him to go to Chicago. I think they can have cap space. They just need to, they can open up cap space pretty easily. And I think he wouldn't be a bad fit there. And if his wife, I think, or his girlfriend or whatever, she lives in Illinois. So I don't think it would be hard for him to transition there. Fred VanVleet. So I don't think it would be hard for him to transition there. I think New York would be harder. New York, it's like if like no one else goes there, it's all gonna be about him. Like he'll have the spotlight on him. But if he wants to win, he has a highest chance in Toronto, and then Chicago, and then New York. So those are the 3 teams that I think he has a shot at going to.
I think I don't think there's any way this man is going back to the Raptors. And I'm being legit serious. Sorry, David and Darian. I don't think he's going because if you think about it in the Raptors situation, they're going to lose Gasol and Ibaka too. You cannot forget that. They will not have a legit center to run with. And that means, they've got to either re-sign Ibaka. And if they sign Ibaka, there's no way they're going to have money to sign VanVleet. Van Vliet is probably going to get a bag around 25 million, probably even more, from probably the Knicks, because the Knicks have all the money in the world. And that's the only team I could see Van Vliet going to. I don't know, maybe. Yeah, Darian mentioned the Bulls. I could see that too. I don't know what other team has cap space. Maybe the Hawks. I don't know. But I think more than likely he's going to the Knicks. I doubt there's any chance that he goes to the signs back with the Raptors. There's no way they can offer him 25 million plus at all.
Well, I mean, listen, like I forgot who said. I'm pretty sure it was Tejas that they have no center. So one of their main priorities is signing Serge Ibaka back. I would say actually that their first priority is signing Chris Ibaka. Is signing Fred VanVleet back. But I would say second priority is also do. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to cut this part out again. Okay.
Oh, leave it in, bro. Leave it in.
Okay.
Just leave it in. Leave it in.
All right. Okay. I mean, Fred VanVleet is probably their first priority because he's developing, so he's going to be better next season. And I think that I think that there's tons of rumors that he could be going to New York. Now I think Westbrook is going to New York, so I'm not sure how that's going to work out. But yeah, I think it's either going to be down to the Raptors or Knicks, but it looks like he is probably going to be re-signing with the Raptors.
All right. The next player is actually a person who we just talked about, who accepted a player option, and that's DeMar DeRozan. Now the reason I put him in here is because he's been in a lot of rumors, like will he? Because I think the Spurs are probably going to trade him. So it just depends on who they'll trade him to. Right now, like the only thing about DeRozan, like the only team that's been in rumors are the Lakers. So if I had to pick one, it'd probably be them because I don't really know if anyone else has been interested, or at least they haven't like let it known. But yeah, probably like Lakers as of now because they're the only team that's been in DeRozan rumors.
Yeah, I agree with having the Lakers as the first like option for him to go to because they're the only team in the rumors, and I also feel like they can offer him that like Kuzma and KCP, whatever deal it is, if they do a sign trade with KCP. And they can also offer some picks, and I don't feel like that's a terrible deal. They could probably get better, but I don't think any other team's offering for DeRozan at the moment. And if they want to like do a trade for DeRozan, I feel like that's a decent trade.
Alrighty. So the DeRozan to Lakers trade, I saw yesterday through my reports that, or through my sources, I should say, that they have discussed a KCP sign and trade, like David said. I think that the Spurs would definitely take into hard consideration a KCP Kuzma, and I think Quinn Cook would have to be in it for salary reasons. And then throw in picks because you may be thinking, why would the Spurs do this? Okay, they're losing DeRozan, a borderline all-star. He's been a 4-time all-star. For KCP, I think he's 28. He's between 27 and 30. And then Kuzma's a young player. So Kuzma, you may be laughing inside, but Kuzma is a great young player. He could be a great young player. Under Greg Popovich, he could develop him better. A couple picks, I think 1 or 2 picks. And then you sauce that up, you send it to the Spurs, and there's no market for DeRozan right now. No team really wants DeRozan. No team really needs DeRozan. But I think the Lakers it's like one of those Westbrook things. There's only 2 teams that want him, so the packages are going to be worse. It's not like every team wants DeRozan right now. Kuzma hasn't hit his prime yet. He's only going to improve. So this is like they were considering a Danny Green trade. So you're just replacing Danny Green with KCP. Now KCP's a better player than Danny Green. I think this is a doable trade. I don't know if they do this though. I think they wait it out, but then he's going to be a free agent. I don't know. They might lose him for nothing. Might as well lose him for a young asset and picks. But yeah, DeRozan or Orlando. Those are good teams too.
Before Tejas goes, Darian, what are these sources that you keep talking about? Do you actually have sources?
My sources are my Instagram feed and not Woj because Woj didn't report it, but my casual
Oh
Instagram
my
feed.
goodness.
We just want to make sure that the things that are being said here are factual.
Oh no, for sure. No, the KCP thing. It was a.
All right. Yeah, just making sure. All right, Tejas, yeah, go for it.
First of all, I know DeRozan's from the LA area, so I could definitely see how he'd get traded there. But I also want to make the point. Anthony Davis is going to get a max contract. I don't know how much money it'll be, but I'm pretty sure LeBron's making how much, like 38. Correct me if I'm wrong, like 38 million. I think LeBron is. I'm sorry, that's what LeBron's making. Anthony Davis is going to get something around there too. So I heard y'all talking about KCP and all that stuff, but trading for DeRozan is kind of a mistake because his player option is worth, I think, 27 million or something like that. I really don't think it's worth it for the Lakers, and I really don't know if they can match salaries. First of all, I know Kuzma, KCP's like 9 million. I don't know if they can match it all, but. I mean, maybe they'll somehow find a way to match it. I don't know, but if they do, that means I don't know if they'll have depth. That means they'll probably have to give up Kuzma too. So I mean, we'll see. But that's the only team I could think of. There's Orlando. There's Atlanta. There's a bunch of teams, but I really think it's going to be LA more than likely. But we'll see. Maybe he just stays in San Antonio. We have no idea.
Well, I mean, listen, DeRozan's been like rumored to be traded from like every single team in the league, honestly. But I mean, the Lakers don't really need DeRozan, and if they do, then they would probably trade KCP and some picks. But I don't really have too much to say about this. But quickly before we move on to the next topic, I'm just gonna bring something up. We were just talking about Kyle Kuzma, but there's been rumors, getting the source from Hoops Alert on Instagram, that the Lakers and Knicks have discussed a trade that would send Kyle Kuzma to New York, and then also throwing in there that voices in the Knicks organization have expressed concerns about trading for Russ. But that's just a random thought. But I just want to hear what you guys think about how would a Kuzma to New York trade work?
Could you quickly send me that so I can see it?
I don't think this works at all, in fact. I don't even know if it'll happen. Like, what do the Lakers get from the Knicks that is so valuable for Kyle Kuzma? I doubt that even happens. I'm sorry, Hudson.
I mean, if there's one team that Kuzma can be let off the leash, it's the Knicks because like they don't really have any expectations. So you're not really gonna worry about how he plays on the Knicks.
I disagree.
So,
I think he's gonna be under the spotlight if he goes to the Knicks as the only good player. I think the Spurs would be a better fit for Kuzma.
Not the only good player on the Knicks.
Well, like there's Mitchell.
I don't think he'd be the best player on the Knicks if he went. I think I don't think he fits. I think he's being held back by playing with LeBron and Anthony Davis because he's being forced to just sit in the corner and shoot threes. That's not his game. That's why I think he needs a team that doesn't really have any clear cut number one option.
I take Mitchell Robinson if I was the Lakers, but I doubt that trade even happened.
That would be great. We can get a nice center out of it, but no way they would give their best young piece. Maybe they can give RJ Barrett though. He was in trade rumors. I don't know though.
I doubt it. I think RJ still has a lot of potential, but I doubt this trade even happens. It's just a rumor at the end of the day.
Like Lakers, they're a win now team, and what's it called?
Exactly.
The Knicks don't really have any win now players, and Kuzma is a future player and a win now player.
Lakers don't need young players.
I don't know who the Lakers would want from this. That's the only thing.
Maybe Randall. I could see that, but he doesn't really fit. We don't need a power forward.
He was already on the Lakers, and
but like now it's different. They have LeBron now. Come on, catch up.
All right, yeah. Now we're gonna move on to Danilo Gallinari, who is also a free agent, and I, as a Heat fan, I'm taking the Heat on this one. We've already been very interested in him. In the trade deadline, we almost pulled off a trade for him. Right now, we're in talks of offering a 2 year uh 2 year contract with him, and I think that the Heat's a very good fit. He could basically be what like Jay Crowder was for us, except like be a very better version of Jay Crowder. Uh, and I think like alongside Bam, like it'd just be a very great fit for us. I really want to see him go to the Heat.
I also think he's going to the Heat. As you said, they mentioned like they're about to trade for him around the deadline, and I don't know where I read it, but I heard that he had like interest in the Heat and that he wanted to like sign with them and try to help them win now. So I do think he's going to the Heat as well.
Alrighty, so I'm just quickly checking this because I did see Danilo Gallinari posted on his Twitter. I think it was a couple of weeks ago of like the teams that he would want to go to, or like it was not the teams that he would want to go to, just like teams that like a picture of him in different jerseys.
It was like, where should I go next?
Yeah, I found it. So it was it doesn't show like the teams that the jerseys he would wear, but
it doesn't. It doesn't show.
So these are the teams that I think the only teams he has a chance of going to. Obviously, we have Miami. I think that Dallas is also a team. Young team, but I think mainly the Lakers and Miami, and this is why both teams would only want him on a 1-year deal. And he himself said that he wants to go to a team and he doesn't care about the money. He cares about winning. So that's why I think Miami could use a power forward. Lakers don't need a power forward as much as Miami because they have AD, obviously, but they could move AD to the 5. I think he fits better with Miami, but he has a better chance of winning on the Lakers. If Lakers want to play LeBron at the 1, they can put Danilo at the small forward and they can have a tall lineup. I don't think he's the greatest defender though, but still I think probability wise, like if there was like odds, I would say the best odds are him going to Miami because of the fit. But if he wants a higher chance of winning, I think he can get more money on Miami. But if he wants a higher chance of winning, I think he should go to the Lakers over Miami.
From the rumors I've heard, the 3 main teams that are in contention are the Knicks because they can offer him all the money in the world. But that's the least likely out of the 3. I think that's going to happen. The Mavericks, you talked about, Darian. I think that could be an interesting thing because, and I know that Gallinari said he wants to win. He doesn't want the money. But it's just there for the taking. But the Mavericks want to save their cap for 2021, but they can offer him a 1-year contract this year. And I think he fit really well with Luka in that offense. That offense could be even more deadly, especially considering Porzingis isn't going to be playing for the first part of the year. I don't know. That could be really scary because they could just fit in a center and have Gallinari play the power forward position. He could really fit out there, but I think more than likely it's going to be the Miami Heat. As much as I hate to say it, and I hate to see it, it's going to be the Miami Heat. There's no I've seen too many rumors about this, but then again, anything can happen. So we just got to wait and see what happens. And free agency starts out on Friday, so we'll see what happens with Gallinari. And I also want to make one more point: he's not going to LA. LA doesn't have that much cap space, Darian.
Well, as much as I would hate to see him go to the Heat, that's a joke. I would love to see him go to the Heat. Honestly, I mean, he's a great player. He's like I'm pretty sure Suha said he's literally a better version of Jay Crowder. But Miami has a lot of priorities this offseason. Actually, they do. They're gonna have to figure out how to re-sign Dragic and Crowder. And they do have bird rights on Bam, so they could extend his extension to next season. Although that might be trouble because if another team throws him a max, then we're going to have to offer that. But again, we're trying to save the money next season for Giannis. But if that doesn't happen, then we may have to. Then I'm pretty sure that we're going to have to use a ton of the money on Bam, which might not leave us enough for Giannis. But either way, yeah, I mean, I think that Danilo Gallinari is not going to the Knicks because they already have their priorities on VanVleet and Westbrook, if I were them. And for the Mavericks, I mean, okay, I might see them as a good fit, but I don't really see Danilo Gallinari and the Mavericks really working out. I would mainly, even if I wasn't a Heat fan, I think he would be best with the Heat, but a biased part of me makes me feel like the Heat would be the best fit for him.
All right, now we're going to move on to another person that has a player option this year, has been in a lot of rumors, especially today. Gordon Hayward. If I was uh, if I was Gordon Hayward, where would I go to, and what team would try to get me? I mean, the Celtics already tried to trade him to the Pelicans for Drew Holiday, but I think Hayward's gonna get traded. He's gonna be a sign and trade to probably the Pacers for Miles Turner. That's probably what I would guess. I'm not really too sure what other team, because I think the Celtics want a center back, but I think it'd probably be for Miles Turner in return.
So yeah, I think if Gordon Hayward does accept that player option, the Celtics will try to offer him for Miles Turner, because as they released, or somebody released, or I think it was Woj or Shams, I don't know. They released that they offered Gordon Hayward and 3 first-round picks for Drew Holiday, and if they like offer that for Miles Turner, not the same thing, but something similar to that, they could probably pull off that trade. So I feel like if he's accepting that option, they're gonna do that. If he doesn't, he's probably gonna go to like a team like you said, the Mavericks.
All right, so I think Gordon Hayward, he like I don't care who you are not like nobody's gonna give you that money. I don't even know how he got that money in the first place. He was never like that good to get a $30+ million contract. Like I think it was the Jazz. Like when he left the Jazz, he was a free agent. They gave him money, but he definitely wasn't worth $30 million. I think probably like a 25 milli offer, 23, something like that. I don't know why he would not take this. Nobody's going to offer him more than 20 million, except for a bad team. I think it was Suha said, and I think Tejas would agree that they definitely need to get a big man here. Boston, that's the only issue with Boston is their bigs. So like they don't have a big. They don't have like a good big. They have Tice. He's like a backup big. He's not that tall either. So they're not going to play Tatum at the 5. They have to keep him at the 4, and they have like they have a really good lineup. It's really talented, but if they can upgrade that center position for someone that's on their bench like Gordon Hayward, and they could start Marcus Smart, I think that they should definitely search and be in the market for a good center that can stretch the floor.
Before I begin on where Hayward will go, you're being really disrespectful, Darian. Gordon Hayward was an all-star in the Western Conference, in a loaded Western Conference with KD and a bunch of other forwards, and he made it to the All-Star team. You cannot take that away from him. And he deserved every penny of that max contract that was given to him by the Celtics. Okay? It's just sad that the injuries derailed him and that horrible ankle injury happened, okay? He still put up really good stats this year, 17. I'm pretty sure he had 17 points per game. In the bubble, he didn't get to play that much. But you cannot disrespect Hayward like that. If it weren't for the injuries, who knows what would happen. But anyways, I think Hayward, he's going to get traded to the Pacers. The Celtics are going to trade him because I don't think they want to deal with his injuries anymore. And quite honestly, they need a center. Y'all mentioned it before. So they're probably going to trade him to Miles Turner. They will not offer all 3 of their first-round picks. Maybe they'll offer like 1 or 2 for Miles Turner, but they should definitely go ahead and get Turner. They'll insert Smart into the starting lineup, and they should go ahead and go sign some other free agents to go fill out the roster to get a good bench. But I really don't know why you're disrespecting Gordon Hayward, Darian.
All right. Well, before Hudson goes, I'm just going to quickly respond to that. He was an all-star in his last year in Utah, right? He averaged 22 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. is that really worth $32 million? And you said he deserved every penny. I highly disagree with that. A guy who averages 22 points on a team where he's the best player, he's the guy putting up the main shots. He wasn't even efficient. He was shooting 47% from the field, so he was shooting like a good amount. Like, that's not inefficient, but it's not like efficient. He wasn't shooting over 50%. So I definitely don't think he deserved $32 million. I don't think anybody on this planet, except for you and maybe Celtics fans, because they feel bad, think that he deserved $32 million even when he was on Utah. He, as I said, $25 million at that time, I think is the most that he should have gone for averaging 22 points. He wasn't all-star. I'll give him that. He's only a one-time all-star though. Like, he wasn't a superstar at that time, and superstars get that money. So that's why I don't think that he deserved every penny of that. But yeah.
Hold on. At first, it wasn't 34 million. In his first year, I think he was earning 28 million, and it went up progressively by 2 million. That's why he's at 34 million for a player option right now. It wasn't 34 million at the beginning. They, how max contracts work are that they increase progressively, and at the end, the last year of the contract is when the contract is the heaviest. So basically, if you're looking at it, the max contract was actually for 31 million, not 34 million. But Hayward, I thought he deserved it. He was the best free agent in the class, and he was looking to go to the Celtics. It just sucks that injuries derailed him.
I'm so sorry, Hudson. I just have to quickly say this. The average salary was 32 million. I'm just going to point that out. The average salary over the 32 million. Hudson, you can go now.
All right. I just want to say quickly, I also think he's going to be heading to the Celtics. I'm sorry, to the Pacers. I don't really think he's going to be getting that type of money anywhere else. But like I said, he's not going to be getting that type of money anywhere else. So I think that the best thing would be that if the Celtics aren't able to move down the draft at least, then they would make the trade for Miles Turner for the Pacers, and they would obviously ship Gordon Hayward to Indiana. That's only if the Celtics are not able to move from the draft, because I think that that's the first priority. Trade all your first round picks. Try to get up to at least the top 7, I would say, to have a chance at either Obi Toppin or Onyeka Okongwu or Onyake. But I think that main priority is try to get that type of center, whether it's trading Gordon Hayward for Miles Turner or trading up in the draft to get that center available.
All right, we got to move on. I'm going to talk about Goran Dragic now. He is also he's an unrestricted free agent, and I think he's going to come back to the Heat. I think the plan for us is to give him a big 1-year deal, and then reduce it as the years go on. Re-sign him again to like a smaller contract, because the 2021 class, we do have a chance to get players like Giannis. But he already expressed that he wants to return to the Heat, so I think he's going to come back.
Yeah, I completely agree with him coming back, and I do agree with the declining price, declining deal, because he's also 34 right now, and he's getting older and older. So I don't think like they can offer him something big, especially with them wanting to get Giannis in that free agency. So I completely agree with you.
All right, so this is what's going on in with the Miami Heat and Goran Dragic. He's going to, like Suha said, sign a 1-year deal, a 1-year extension, right? And he's going to become a free agent. They're not going to re-sign him because they're going to go on Giannis. And actually, they might re-sign him if they strike out on Giannis, right? But he's old. He's like old. I think he's 34. And he ain't no LeBron, you know. He can't age like LeBron, so like he's not going to be at this level. I think 1-year deal is what they need to sauce him, and not that much. I think he's going to get one more $15 million deal, probably, and then go, if they want to re-sign him, to like a low, around 10 or under 10 million. Now, this report that I just got from my source, Woj, my boy Adrian, he said James Harden wants to join the Nets for 2 years as of now. It's not big news because he's on a 2-year, like his contract has 2 more years. The report's kind of saying that he's not going to sign an extension right when he gets to Brooklyn, but kind of a useless report. I just wanted to let the viewers know about it.
Yeah, I didn't even put James Harden in this thing because I thought it was very obvious that he's going to go to the Nets. But Tejas, what do you think about Goran Dragic?
Um, about Dragic, yeah, he's going back to the Heat. It's probably going to be 1 or 2 deals. I'm sorry, well, not 1 or 2 deals, 1 or 2 years. Um, he's a good backup for them. They could probably start Nunn, but maybe they might start Dragic. I'm not sure if they want to develop Nunn. I don't know, but I'd say he'd come back on a team friendly deal, and be an essential part of the Heat playoff push when they need him.
Well, I mean, we can agree that Dragic was a pretty big part in this. Is a pretty big part in the Heat's journey to the finals. Although he got injured, I would say he was a very big factor as he was the starting point guard. When K Nunn got injured, he was mainly the point guard. But yeah, I mean, I think for him, he's getting old now, so he shouldn't be expecting to get a lot of money. I'm hoping he's loyal, and I think that he should probably re-sign on like a decently small 1-year deal, maybe like 12-15 million on a 1-year deal, just to take a little pay cut from I think the opposed 20 million he's getting now, just because he's getting older and he knows that. So I think he's going to be coming back.
Oh, sorry, I was just looking at the list. We have three more remaining. The first one being Jeremy Grant. I think we can fly through these pretty quickly. Jeremy Grant, obviously declined his player option. I don't know if the Nuggets have the cap space to sign him for money that he's gonna want, so I think he's gone. But we did talk about Jeremy Grant before as to him declining the option, but like which team he's going to go to. And if I had to pick one team, it would probably be a contender. And if I'm talking about like contenders that have a lot of money, I was gonna say the Bucks, bro, but the Bucks just traded for Drew Holiday, so they have no money to sign anyone. I like Phoenix. I like Phoenix for Jeremy Grant because Phoenix just traded a wing away in Kelly Oubre, and Jeremy Grant could be a very nice replacement for them. And I think they do have the cap space, so uh, I like Phoenix for Jeremy Grant.
So Jeremy Grant, fun dude. I think Denver's a good spot for him. I think Denver was focusing on getting Drew Holiday, and I'm sure that they're kind of mad right now that the Pelicans wanted to trade him to the East because I think they could have given a pretty good package for him. I think we saw a mock trade. So I think a spot that Jeremy Grant can land and could be useful is a team that desperately needs a small or powerful. I'm going to speak quickly here. I think it's the Dallas Mavericks. I think he can fit there if they bring KCP at the 5. Not KCP, sorry. KP at the 5 or even the 4. He can play Jeremy Grant at the 3. He's a great defender. He can heat up on offense. We saw in the playoffs against the Lakers and the Clippers. I think the Mavs are a great spot for him to land.
I think Jeremy Grant is going to sign back with the Nuggets. I mean, they might offer him more money, but I think he has a lot of chemistry with the Nuggets. Especially what they did this in this bubble run. I think he'll sign back with the Nuggets, and they'll be ready to go for 2021.
I also think that Jeremy Grant's going to be signing back with the. I don't really have too much to say about this, but I think he's going to be just signing back with the Nuggets.
All right. The next player will be Rajon Rondo, who we also talked about very briefly. We did talk about him drawing interest from the Hawks and the Clippers. I would probably pick a team. If I had to pick a team, it'd probably be the Hawks because I think he'd be a very good veteran to mentor Trae Young. I think it's obvious that he wants the bag, and I think that the Hawks, out of both the Hawks and the Clippers, can offer the most money. So I think the Hawks for Rajon Rondo.
I think I mentioned this. I think obviously he said he wants the bag. I don't think Atlanta can have for him that much, or they already offered him 15 million over 2 years, 7.5 million a year, and the Clippers can offer him like 4 million a year, 4.5 million. I don't think he's gonna go to a garbage lottery team for $3 million less or $3 million more than he can go to the Clippers. Honestly, I don't even know why he would leave the Lakers, but like we got a replacement for him now, so no biggie. But I think he's gonna. I think personally, I would be shocked if I didn't see him in a Clippers jersey next season.
I'll throw the sleeper pick in. I think Rondo's going to the Celtics. It's going to be a reunion in Boston.
I'm honestly not too sure about that. I honestly think that Ron is going to end up going to the Clippers. But yeah, Darian, you say something?
Alrighty, so there's some breaking news out of Houston. It is not a James Harden trade. It is
Yeah, I saw it. I just saw it. Yeah.
Jayshawn Tate is expected to sign with the Rockets, so they're already replacing Robert Covington with some random G League dude, or not even G League. He played.
He played in Australia last year
Yeah.
after going undrafted.
Averaged 16 points in Australia, about 17 points. So they're replacing Harden and Westbrook already with this young guy. So that's some great news for Houston.
I mean, I read it. I was like, should I bring it up? I was like, nah. But all right, moving on to the last player, which is Wesley Matthews, who we also briefly talked about. Drawing interest from the Heat, the Mavericks, and the Lakers. And hear me out, bro. I am a Heat fan, but like, come on. Wesley Matthews, Jimmy Butler, and Jay Crowder all went to Marquette at the same time. Jimmy Butler and Wesley Matthews are really, really close friends, as is Jay Crowder. So, and think about a guy that fits the Heat culture. Defense, he's one of the best defenders in the league. He's very slept on defensively. Like I was in that Heat series, he was locking up. Like he was giving our players a lot of problems. And we had to get switches. And he can shoot the ball like none other. So we have Duncan Hero, and we'll have Wesley Matthews, which will be a great pickup for us. That's why I have the Heat getting it. And we have the money.
Pardon?
I said, and we have the money as well. That's why.
Yeah. Miami has the money. Yeah, sure they do. Okay. Wesley Matthews is not going to Miami, but he's not going to leave the Bucks to go to a worse team in the same conference. He's heading out west, okay? And he's not going to get a bag. He's
whoa. Worst team?
Okay.
That's where I have a problem, bro.
Okay, listen.
They're not a worse team than the Bucks, bro. There's
can
no
all
way
agree-
we're a worse team than the Bucks.
We can all agree here. On paper, the Bucks are better, and also the Miami Heat overperformed.
The game is not played on paper.
Okay, let me finish here. Okay, the Miami Heat overperformed, not beating the Bucks, but I think making the finals they overperformed, right? And the bubble really helped them. I don't think they would have won it if there was, let's say, this virus that existed.
Come on, bro.
The Miami Heat would be a first or second round exit if there was no COVID. But let's be honest here, okay?
Explain your reasoning. Explain your reasoning.
Okay, so
What about that?
No, I got a problem with that, bro. I got a problem with that. Explain your
What
reasoning.
did you say, Hudson?
Well, I mean,
explain your reasoning why you think
would
the bubble helped them.
Yeah, I will when Hudson. Okay, forget it. All right, so the Miami Heat ended the 5 seed, right? Okay, they don't have the most talented best player. They have a really gritty hustle player in Jimmy Butler. Bam got more time to develop over that break. Jimmy Butler got more rest because he's not a young guy. And Goran Dragic just became a lot better at basketball somehow. He became their leading scorer in the bubble. He would not do that without this break happening. So I think this break and no home court advantage, having no home court, having like no teams have any advantage, I think Milwaukee would be a lot better in their home court. I think the higher seeded teams, they were at a disadvantage this year because they didn't get their actual advantage. Because what's the point of getting a higher seed in the bubble, right? The Lakers, the Bucks, those teams. So I think Miami, if there was never a break, then if there was never a break, they wouldn't be in the finals. Wait.
This is where I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
All right, listen. So you're acting like the break was just for Miami, where
No,
every team had the break. No. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Every team had the COVID break, so you can't say Bam just got better over the break. Any player could have gotten better over the break who's in the playoffs. Second of all, we beat the Bucks in 5, damn near swept the Bucks. We almost swept the Bucks, and home court advantage wasn't going to change that result. And
All right.
Goran Dragic didn't somehow just get better. The reason that Goran Dragic became our leading scorer was because we started to start him, and we changed our starting lineup, putting Jay Crowder instead of Myers Leonard. Give Miami credit, bro. You can't just say that the bubble was the reason they went to the finals.
Listen,
Yeah, facts. Darian,
I'm
just stop. Just stop it, bro.
I need
As a
to
Celtics fan,
clear it.
No.
Relax,
As a
buddy,
Celtics
okay?
fan, stop it. No. Just
Well-
stop this argument. Answer the question. Where's Wesley Matthews going?
He's going to LA, but that doesn't change the fact. I'm not taking anything away from Miami. I'm just saying that the Bucks are I think seeding wise, if like I'm gonna put him in standings, Bucks are the better team. So I don't. This is the thing. Even if Miami's better, I don't think Wesley Matthews is gonna leave the Bucks to go to a team that's slightly better in Miami or better in Miami in the same conference. I think he's going to the West. I think any team he signs with is gonna be in the West. The Mavericks, the Lakers, not the Clippers because they suck, but you know what I get. Just Western Conference teams. I think he's gonna go to the West.
I'm sorry.
Wait, which
No,
team?
no. So go ahead and answer him about the Miami thing, because I also disagree with him.
No, I'm not talking about that. I was. Did you say Mavericks or Lakers? I was just wondering.
No, I just said Western. I think the only one that he's been in discussions with, as far as I know, is the Lakers in the West. So I think it's Lakers or Mavericks. My top choices.
I just wanted to figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know. Hold on. I think he's going to the Lakers. This is a legit move right here. I mean, they need a shooting guard, and look who's on the board: Wesley Matthews, 3-and-D. This is a legit move right here, and he's just going to fit in perfectly. They're going to probably sign to, I don't know, a cheap deal, but he's going to sign with the Lakers. I agree with you on this one, Darian.
I at all means do not want any more players to sign with the Lakers or get traded. But I do think that he's going to end up getting traded, which is unfortunate for the rest of the NBA. But with all these Harden, Durant, and Irving trade rumors going on, then LeBron's trying to do whatever he can to compete with them.
Wait,
He's a free agent. He's a free agent.
Traded. It would be just him walking.
The only reason I don't see him going to the Lakers is because I don't think they have the money to
He's
give
36.
him what he wants.
Like what?
Yeah, but he declined it. He declined a $3 million player option.
We can give him
I don't
$3
think you
million.
guys have more than that.
No, yeah, we definitely have more than $3 million. But
How much do you have?
I think
If you guys want to sign, if you guys are going to sign KCP back, trade for DeRozan, who's on a $27 million deal, and give Anthony Davis a bigger contract than what he's actually on right now, which is $29 million.
I think.
Uh,
No, I understand. I think the Rosen we're going to match the contract either way. I think we're going to sign KCP to him out. But Hudson has breaking news. I'm just going to quickly wrap it up here for Wesley Matthews. I think if it was $3 million, he'd rather go to the Lakers than the Bucks. That's all I'm saying. I think he can perform better on the Lakers than the Bucks. Hudson, go ahead.
So we're getting it's not a trade. Do not get excited here. But Shams is coming out with some breaking news that the Rockets and Wizards have been discussing a deal centered around Russell Westbrook for John Wall. Now, okay, it might seem
What?
not. What did you say?
yeah. It's facts. It's facts. I just saw it too.
Shams just reported it.
That's
It is
crazy.
true. Yeah, Shams literally just reported it like 15 seconds ago. It looks like Rockets and Wizards are looking for a deal around Russell Westbrook and John Wall. Now, here's the thing. We have not seen John Wall play in, 2 years since randomly
years.
tearing his ACL?
Yeah.
And so it's gonna be-
It said that there's no traction and the Rockets are still seeking more assets, but they've only discussed this deal. They haven't really made progress.
I don't think the Rockets can get better. I mean, for Russell Westbrook than John Wall. I think the chance of him being what he was before isn't like that. Like it's not a high chance, but I still think he can be a high performer. I think that's the best they can get back for Westbrook. I don't know.
Basically the same player. They're basically the same player though. Like that's the only thing.
John Wall's just a better
surprising.
defender. He's worse offensively, better.
Yeah, I guess. And he's coming off an
they are
injury.
two of the fastest guys in the game right now. I mean,
And
depending
athletic,
on,
yeah.
I mean, we know that not everybody comes back the same from an ACL tear, so maybe not John Wall, but
I think Russ and Beal would work fine. Beal isn't too ball dominant, so I think that would be pretty cool. Actually, I would want to see the Wizards do that. Feel bad for John Wall though.
If this trade happens, then the Beal might request a trade because he was very vocal that he wanted to play with John Wall once he came back.
That would suck for Westbrook if they trade into Washington and they trade Beal for young assets and he's with shit players and then Wall is with garbage players in in Houston.
All right, but I think that's it for the episode. Hope you guys really enjoyed this one. We are going to be giving you guys our draft reactions because the draft is tomorrow, so we'll probably be recording that after the draft. We also will get back onto our top 10 players at each position as well. And whenever there's like breaking news or anything, like today, like there was an abundance of news, so we just had to record a podcast. Like there was just too much news to like wait. So if we get like these situations again, we will definitely record. But hope you guys enjoyed it. Hudson, you want to talk to them? You want to talk to them about like subscribing and stuff like that?
For sure. I mean, if you guys are still here, thank you guys so much for watching. But in the past couple of days, or in total, if you're watching this video right now and you're not subscribed, make sure you are, because about 85% of you guys aren't. So again, thank you for watching this video. We extremely appreciate the support. And if you made it this far, we respond to every comment. Whether it's your personal opinion, saying we respond to every comment. But yeah.
So comment down below, like the episode, and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram @_BaldwinLive Podcast. That is it for us today. Peace.